Hey everybody, good Saturday morning, top of the morning to you. Eddie Williams Sellers coming to you live this morning at 8:09. As I eased out of the bedroom this morning, trying to be quiet, not to wake Ava up, she was sound asleep. I thought about our relationship and our love, so here's the morning post. Love is a many splendored thing. Uh, what if I woke up one morning and I just no longer loved Ava? Does that happen sometimes? I've heard people say it does. Is that even possible? I have looked back over my life to see if that has ever happened to me. It hasn't ever happened for me. I have heard others say that they fell out of love with someone along the way, or that they stopped loving them, or that the person they had spent years of their life with no longer loved them anymore. Does that really happen? Or do two people just kind of grow apart? How did Ava and I fall in love? Maybe I never learned how to unlove people. Is it possible to unlove somebody after you have loved them? Or is love unbreakable, unmovable? Why would someone ever want to unlove somebody after you have loved them? Ava and I are so different. Our raising, our culture, our age, our ethnicity, our likes, our dislikes. One would think that we have nothing in common. We are so different in so many ways. I love bananas. I start every morning off with a banana. She would never eat a banana. I could go down a list of so many things about us that are different. She is a herky-jerky driver. I am as smooth as Engelbert Humperdinck when it comes to driving. Yet, as 17 years have gone by, how did we get along so well? How is there still some fire left in the kettle? Is that fire love? Barbara Streisand and Robert Redford showed us in The Way We Were that love is not always enough to keep two people together. Man, it's painful when two people do love each other and they part ways. But it helps if the person you're with, if you love them. And even more exciting if you can stay in love with them, whatever that in love thing is. Some say the in love feeling wears off in all relationships at some point. You know, the sex dies and the love wanes, and you're like, go on in there and cook me some cornbread, hon. With Ava, I haven't experienced falling out of the in love feeling with her yet. Maybe that will happen at some point. Sure, there are just some little things about anybody that can be annoying at times. She never pushes a drawer all the way back in, always leaves about that much of it sticking out. And she never pushes a closet door all the way until it clicks. Uh, uh, with my OCD, I spend a lot of time pushing and clicking. Good Saturday morning, sweet people. It has been a while since we had a rainy, stormy night here in Atlanta. We ran up to Marco's in the midst of all the thunder and storming last night about 7:30 and got a pepperoni pizza, as lovers often do. I think of our love this morning, Ava and I, as the series is now playing across the nation about our love that they flew us up to New York for, and we spent an afternoon in Brooklyn helping record stuff. The series In the Midst of that you can Google and find on YouTube or whatever. I seen where the Prime Minister of England this morning says that this is the most dangerous time in the last 30 years for England as we head to London Monday week. As she always holds my hand tightly as the turbulence starts, and she feels my anxiety going up. I think when you love people, you just do stuff like that. Let me tell y'all something. I got, 5 minutes left? I don't know if I can squeeze this in. But y'all know I was a little bit crazy back in my 40s. So anyhow, my friend Rick and Pete, they lived in Jacksonville, Florida. And me and John would go down there on weekends to Jacksonville, and we'd hang out at Jacksonville Beach, and Rick always let us stay with him and cook for us, and we just had such good times. And so anyhow, in those years, I went down there. Well, we went out to a club or the beach or something. I met this guy, Jose, a Puerto Rican, beautiful, and fell in love with him. So I thought. This is about love, and infatuation. So anyhow, I went down there for several months, and we dated, and we rent us a hotel, so we have our private time. Oh, he was an accountant, had a good job, had his own place, and we talk on the phone all the time like two little high school kids. Oh, he was just so sweet. So anyhow, we decided over a period of time he's going to turn in his notice at his job. He was moving to Grant Park. We were gonna live together. He was gonna find a job in Atlanta. So anyhow, he sold all his stuff and moved to Atlanta. Well, he lived with me for about a week, and Sammy and John. That was in those days. And there was one thing that he did that I really didn't like, and I had a lot of friends back then that would hang out at the house. Well, I said, y'all want a piece of pie? And I said, let's get us a piece of pie. And Jose said, I'll get you a piece of pie. So he went there and cut me a piece of pecan pie. And I'm sitting there with my friends, and and he took it and had me a bite. He was going to feed me. I'm like, no, this. So anyhow, he only had lived with me for about a week, and so I called Sammy and John, and I told Sammy and John we do three-ways a lot back then. I said, y'all, I have made a horrible mistake. I do not want to be with this guy. Sammy liked to have a nervous breakdown. He said, oh, Eddie, because they liked Jose. Oh, Eddie, you're being very irrational. You're just having cold feet. It's you've been by yourself for 5 or 6 years. You're not used to people. He said, you just need to take a break. I said, no, we need to meet at the Waffle House. I need to talk to y'all. So we met at the Waffle House, and that morning, and I told him, I said, y'all, I've made a mistake. I said, you live and you learn. What this has taught me, that infatuation and love mimic each other, and it feels very, very similar. But I'm telling you, I was highly infatuated. I'm not in love. I don't want to spend the rest of my life. When I think about the years ahead, spending life with him, Sammy's like, Eddie, I'm having a nervous breakdown. Please stop it. You got me so nervous. He said, just promise me this. Don't say anything. Don't do anything for at least one more week. Just go home and just one more week. Said, I guarantee you next weekend, you'll feel different. I know you're just freaking out. So anyhow, I did that. I said, all right, maybe they're right. Next weekend, I called that Saturday morning. I called Sammy and John on through. I said, we need to eat at the Waffle House. I can't live like this. And so Sammy said, I guess you just have to tell him. So I did that Monday. And he'd put in applications all around it and sold his thing. And I told him, I said, I've made a horrible mistake. Of course, I had to write, out of my guilt, I wrote a nice check to get him settled back in Jacksonville. He loaded up his car and left. But the point of the thing is, infatuation, that's why people should date a little bit before they up and get married or whatever. Of course, a lot of people meet each other, Granny Bratcher, marry them a week later. But a lot of times infatuation feels a lot like love, but it's not love. So maybe I shouldn't have told that story. It makes me look fickle and makes me look different on it, like I didn't have good sense, like my mind wasn't right back then. Maybe my mind wasn't. I was growing, hon. We were just growing. That's called life, growing. Love y'all.